introduction. Here we've got the information that IELTS gave us for our essay. So that's the topic, and here we have the first sentence of our essay, which is the background statement. So let me show you how I wrote it. Now, the essay question, some people think that it's beneficial for children to do paid work, while others think that it can be harmful for children. Our background statement, although paid work is thought by some to be a useful experience for children, other people consider that it can be detrimental. Now, looking at the information that IELTS gave us, it is one long complex sentence, and we will do the same. They connected it with while, this linking device here. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the linking device. It's very simple and easy, and we'll use although. If you use although, don't forget that you do need that comma. The examiner will check all punctuation, so please don't forget that. Now they say some people think, and what we've done here is we've changed it to a passive, which is thought. They also put paid work at the end of this part of the sentence. We've put it at the beginning. So what we're doing is we're changing a verb from active to passive. And we can do that because we are expressing not our opinion, but other people's opinions. And we've also changed the order of information, and we've put paid work at the beginning. So although paid work is thought by some, so some people, to be a useful experience, now they say beneficial. And a lot of students would say a good experience. But again, the word good, it's not a very descriptive word to use. It's not very high band score. So it's better to use useful experience. And we've got for children. Don't forget to introduce this is about children. You must make sure that all the information here, all of it, is given in your background statement. Don't miss any information out at all. And the next part, we say other people, but they've written others. So it's just a very small alteration. They say others think, and we say other people consider that. It can be detrimental. They have harmful, we have detrimental. So you can see there's quite a lot of paraphrasing. We've changed the order of information. We've changed the verbs as well. So that is our background statement. Now it's time to look at the thesis statement, which is the hardest sentence to write for the advantage-disadvantage essay. So let's have a look at that now. Here are 3 thesis statements, and I want to show you the difference between a good thesis statement and a bad thesis statement for an advantage-disadvantage essay. Now let's have a look at number 1. This essay will explore the advantages and disadvantages of this issue. Now, if you visit an academic essay writing website, you will see sentences very similar to this. And of course, when you're writing for an essay at university, then you're going to use a sentence very similar. But is it okay for IELTS? And the answer is no. IELTS is a language test. It's testing your ability to use English in writing. It's not testing your memory. Now, even a very low-level student can memorize these words and copy them into their essay. So the examiner is aware of that, and the examiner will not take that sentence into consideration when they mark your essay. They will ignore it because it's a learned sentence. It doesn't help the examiner to assess your English language. It is a thesis statement, but it won't help your score. So let's have a look at number 2. It's also very similar. Now, it does have paraphrasing. We've got benefits and drawbacks, and it does connect with the issue. It doesn't just say the issue, it connects to it. So that's a little bit better, but it's still the same problem, that it's still very much a formulaic sentence. It doesn't introduce any main points. All it does is say there are advantages and disadvantages, and we know that. The examiner knows that. The examiner has the instructions as well. So again, this is not very good either. So let's have a look at number 3, and this is how you should write your thesis statement. Children can learn about earning money and gain independence from doing paid work. but there are also drawbacks to be taken into account. Now, what we've done here is we have actually we've introduced a couple of our advantages, which is earning money and gaining independence. You don't have to introduce all your advantages, just introduce your two main advantages, or the ones that you think are the key. And then you mention that there are also drawbacks. You don't give them, just mention them. So we state the advantages and we mention that there are also drawbacks. Here I've said to be taken into account. You could also say to be considered. That's also possible. But we did use the word consider in the background statement, so I've given you an alternative here. So this is how your thesis statement should be written. Let's have a look now at the whole introduction written in one paragraph. Here is the introduction paragraph. Although paid work is thought by some to be a useful experience for children, other people consider that it can be detrimental. Children can learn about earning money and gain independence from doing paid work, but there are also drawbacks to be taken into account. So the introduction, it's focused, highly relevant, and it contains all the information that the examiner needs. The background statement with the topic and an answer to the question, so the main points. This introduction is about 44 words in length, and that's enough. You shouldn't be aiming to write a long introduction. As soon as you've written those 2 sentences, that's all you need to do, and it's time to move on to the body paragraph. Right, so let's move on now to body paragraph number 1, to the advantages. The first sentence of any body paragraph is called the topic sentence, and it is the most important sentence that you're going to write in the paragraph because it tells the examiner what the paragraph is about. So this means you need to plan and think carefully about how you're going to write your topic sentence. So for body paragraph number 1, I've got 2 topic sentences to show you. On the one hand, there are a number of advantages to children doing paid work. Firstly, and then I give the advantage. Or I could start directly. Firstly, one benefit of children doing paid work is that they develop an understanding of the value of money. So which one is the best to use? Well, they're both good, and I use both of them. It depends on what you're looking for. Now, as you know, we planned our advantages. We've got 3 advantages, and each advantage has a supporting point. Now, most body paragraphs are usually about 5 sentences long, 5 complex sentences. But we've got 6. So that means it's quite a long body paragraph. We don't want it to be even longer. So that means I'm not going to choose this. I'm going to choose this one, which is a direct start. So think about it. If you don't feel that you have enough words, use this method. If you have too many ideas to give, then use this one. Now, this one starts with on the one hand, and that again is a perfect way to start. You've got on the one hand, which shows one side, and on the other hand for the other side. So if you use on the one hand, you must use on the other hand for your second body paragraph. You can't change that, it's fixed. And again, this is a topic sentence, and this shows that we've got one advantage coming and then more. When we use this method, we need to look at the first 3 words. Now the examiner will see that we've got the word firstly, and that means the examiner will know that we're going to have firstly, we're going to have a secondly, and possibly a thirdly. So the examiner already knows our method of linking ideas and introducing the advantages. The next 2 words, one benefit, shows the examiner the content of the paragraph. So the examiner can see that this is all about the benefits, and here is the first one. So then the examiner will look for the other benefits as well. So it's very important that you think carefully to what words you're going to use to help the examiner understand your paragraph more clearly. That is a good essay. Right, so this is the one we're going to use. Now let's look at the whole paragraph together. The first full body paragraph for the advantages. Firstly, one benefit of children doing paid work is that they understand the value of money. This also teaches them not to waste money as they realise the work needed to earn it. Secondly, having a paid job is advantageous because children take their first steps in learning how to manage and save money. Many older children, for instance, have a part-time job in order to save up for something they would otherwise be unable to afford. Thirdly, working teaches children responsibility and independence. These skills help children develop into self-supporting adults ready to enter society and the workforce. So what you can see is we've got firstly, we've got secondly, and we've got thirdly. 3 advantages. We've used different language. We've got a benefit, we've got advantageous, and then we just have a direct point on the third one. Each of the advantages has a second supporting sentence so that we can expand and explain our ideas in detail. And this also offers more variety. Instead of having one sentence that starts with firstly, the second sentence starts with secondly, and the third sentence starting with thirdly, we're offering more flexibility. If you have firstly, secondly, thirdly directly after each other, that is often the reason why some students only get band score 6, because it becomes like a machine, mechanical, and the examiner looks for that, and that is a characteristic of band score 6. So to get above 6, so to get band score 7, 8 and 9, you need to look at all the flexibility, and that means adding more information and going into detail. So this also teaches them, for instance, giving an example and these skills and explaining why that's important. Right, so that is the first body paragraph. You should be aiming for about 95 words for your first body paragraph and your second body paragraph. That could be 5 sentences or 6 sentences. It depends on your points and your writing. This is a little bit over that, but that's because this is a band score 9 essay. Right, so let's have a look now at the second body paragraph about the disadvantages. Body paragraph number 2. On the other hand, one problem when children have a job is that it potentially exposes them to exploitation through slave labour. For example, in some developing countries, children are made to work full-time, but due to their age are not protected by law. As a result, they're paid negligible wages for work that can be tough, manual work. Another possible issue is that the time children spend working prevents them from focusing on their schoolwork. Having a good education is the key to a successful future. So, being employed as a child can result in a poor academic performance, which can be harmful in the long run. So, what you can see here is that we've started with on the other hand. Now, lots of students ask me, if I use on the other hand for the second body paragraph, do I need to use on the one hand to start the first body paragraph? And the answer is no. You can use on the other hand at any time. It doesn't need to be connected to on the one hand. And of course, we've got advantages, then we've got the disadvantages. So this is a very good way to start. It shows opposites. Another thing you're going to notice is that we've got the 2 problems here. In the first one, we use the word problem, and in the second one, we use the word issue. So we're not repeating vocabulary too much, and we're showing some flexibility. Another thing you're going to notice is that in the first body paragraph, for the advantages, we used firstly, secondly, and thirdly to introduce our advantages. And of course, when you come to the disadvantages, you shouldn't use the same technique. You have to show flexibility. So what we've got is one problem, another possible issue. And this way the examiner can see that we do have 2 problems, but we are introducing them in a different way. So that is the second body paragraph. Let's have a look now at the conclusion. The conclusion. In conclusion, while children can benefit from some work experience, it can also lead to exploitation or lower grades at school. So we've started with the linking device in conclusion, and that helps the examiner see that we are summarising the essay now. And we've got some indication that there were benefits, but we have not actually stated what the advantages are. But here what we have done is we've stated the 2 disadvantages that we've used. So what we've done is the exact opposite of the thesis statement. In the thesis statement, we introduced what the advantages were, but we didn't actually say what the disadvantages were. We only said that there are some. And in the conclusion, we do the opposite. We say there are some benefits, but we don't list them, but we do give the disadvantages. And the reason that we do this is because if you were introducing all the advantages and all the disadvantages, and then your conclusion summarizes all the advantages and the disadvantages, your essay is going to be so long with so much repeated information, and none of that is a good idea. It shouldn't be too long because you've got a time limit, and you do need to think about that. You need to think about quality rather than quantity, and also you don't want so much repetition. So this is a very nice technique to use. What you can see is quite a short conclusion. There's only 1 sentence, and again, that's fine. There's no need to give more. So that is the essay for the advantages and disadvantages. Now it's time to move on to the essay of the advantages outweighing the disadvantages, which is much more difficult to write. For this essay, we will use the same topic. Some people think that it's beneficial for children to do paid work, while others think that it can be harmful for children. And here's the question: do you think the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? That is what you have to answer. Your whole essay is about answering this question. Now you can see I've put "you think" in brackets, and that's because IELTS might include those words, or they might not. The question might be, do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? Now, whether they use the words or not, it's the same question. It's asking what you think. It is asking for a choice. Now, when we had what are the advantages and disadvantages, at no time did you need to choose which is more important. You just had to give the advantages, you gave the disadvantages, and your opinion did not matter. And that's called a simple essay. But this one is different because you're having to choose. Now, outweigh means, are the advantages more important than the disadvantages? So you have to make a decision, and that is your view, your opinion. So you have a choice. You think the advantages are more important than the disadvantages, or you might think the disadvantages are more important than the advantages. And you have to make a decision before you start writing your essay about what you think. And you decide that, and your whole essay will explain that. Now let's have a look at the essay structure and the content to see what similarities and differences there are with the previous essay. Now the first thing you're going to see is that we've got the same number of paragraphs. We've got the introduction, 2 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. The introduction will still have a background statement which paraphrases the essay question. That will be exactly the same. The thesis statement, however, needs to give an answer to the question. So that will be different. The body paragraphs. Now we're still going to have the advantages in body paragraph number 1 and the disadvantages in body paragraph number 2. We've already planned our advantages. We've planned our disadvantages, so they're going to be the same. The topic sentences, however, will be a little bit different. And I've made just slight changes to the supporting points as well. The conclusion will be different because we've got to restate the opinion that we gave in the thesis statement. So you can see some similarities, some differences. On the whole, it's very, very similar, but the differences are important. So let's have a look now, and we're going to start with the introduction. The background statement is the same, so let's immediately go and see how to write the thesis statement.